Hey guys, welcome back to Ollie Talks Airsoft. In today's video, we're just going to be going over some of the bargains that I picked up from the Midlands Airsoft fair. Now, I did a video about this fair like maybe a few months back, and I had a blast the first time I went, and this time I kind of knew what I was expecting. So I made sure that I had a little bit of money in my pocket, and I went out quite near the start of the event and managed to find some absolute bargains. So I wanted to bring them to you today to give you an example of what you can expect to be finding at some of these airsoft fairs. Like, I think the entry is like £5. So is that going to justify how much you're going to save if you're looking for certain things? Now, for me, I'm always looking for pretty much everything. Everyone knows that I have a bit of a love for like Mach 11s, and not just any Mach 11. I really like the old Mach 11s that have a metal nozzle in here. And I managed to find a guy that was selling a Mach 11 with 2 spare mags for an unbelievable £25. Now, not gonna lie, this Mach is smashed. As you can see at the back here, they've completely shattered the upper receiver. The bolt is broken, but the nozzle is still functional, so that's really good to have as a spare. But even more importantly, the 2 mags that came with it. Now, these are really hard to find, especially for the system where you have the metal nozzle. It doesn't actually have a feed under the nozzle. Like, the nozzle feeds the BB itself, and you can't dry fire these guns at all. So it's an airsoft gun that can't really be dry fired. Kind of weird. Well, you can do it if you mix and match the different mags from the different styles, but certainly this preferred one is probably the reason that my old over 20-year-old Mach 11 is still working, because you can't dry fire it. The only problem is I got it with 2 mags. A few years ago, I managed to find 1 more mag for it, and I kind of wanted to have like 4 or 5 mags as a loadout. And you know what? Bang, I'm now up to 5 mags. But even then, these are not perfect. They're actually missing the pins which hold the feed lips and the router on. So I'm going to have to obviously jimmy something together and kind of make it work for me. But you know what? For £25, I can't believe how cheap that was. Like, first bargain of the day, the first bit of money to come out of my pocket, Mach 11 with 2 mags, 25 quid. For spares and repairs, amazing. Like, the same guy also had, he had a 4.3 high capper for £65, a 5.1 high capper for £65, and he also had the 4.3 Extreme, which is the full auto high capper. Again, £65, all fully functioning. So, bargains there to be had. Someone else was selling an MWS for, I think, £450 with 6 mags. Like, that's unheard of. Like, that's and it was tricked out. Like, it had, like, you know, a suppressor, had an aftermarket rail on it, had an aftermarket grips, stocks. So there are some real bargains to be had there. So something I've also not particularly talked about on this channel before is tag and tag launchers and my experience with tag. Now, I've got some tag launchers already, but someone was selling some CO2 shells. Now, these are really hard to find. The guy that was selling them actually had 3 to sell, and they were £50 each. I've already got 1, and so I decided to buy 1 more. So I've got my 1 shot, and then now I've got a reload for that 1 shot. But these are specifically the CO2 ones. These will fire your explosive projectiles like way over 100 meters, like further than your airsoft gun will shoot. These will fire the explosives. Absolutely unbelievable. But again, one of the problems with these is like where you can use them, and we will do a video all about like the restrictions that are associated with these. But I guess that's why the guy was also selling some of the tag rounds with it as well. Now, just to show, this was a box of 9 Fate rounds, again, £50. So for £100, you're in the tag game. and you've got 9 explosive fate rounds. So these are a 4.5 second fuse, or they explode on impact. Now, buying into tag is normally really, really expensive. From this guy selling these at 50 quid, selling these fate rounds for £50 for 9 of them, again, that is an absolute bargain. So I walked away and was like, oh, do I really need it? Of course I need it. Like, of course I need this stuff. But I wasn't going to take all of it. So I did leave some of the other shells that they had there. And obviously I left a couple of the other launchers for other people to purchase. But this is just, so far, only a couple of sellers that I actually visited. And like, everyone had some really cool stuff. Someone also had a KTW Winchester, like a Donsang short one. I literally said to the guy, look, why are you selling this? Like, what? Surely you want to keep this? This is really cool. But, you know, we all have our reasons for selling stuff. And so by the time I went back a little bit later on, it had sold. He was really happy. And I'm sure whoever picked that up as an absolute bargain was, again, delighted. Now, I was actually there helping my friend Mike on the Pew Hub stand. And essentially I was in charge of, not in charge of, me and my friend Tom were sort of looking after the gas blowback section. And we had some pretty cool stuff, including the brand new VFC 249, which I got to get hands on with. It's really cool. I'm really excited. I kind of want to pick one up. They are very expensive, but luckily for me, my friend Tom picked one up. So next time I see him and next time we go out playing, I'm going to ask to have a go and get properly hands-on, get some actual trigger time with it as well. But I know that the biggest feedback that people have had on the 249 is saying it's too light. Now, I think it's just the right weight, personally, simply because as soon as you add on that full box mag full of gas, that's going to add a bit extra. And don't forget, like, you're going to be running around with this all day long. The reason that VFC made it super light is so that you can run around with it all day long, and it's not going to be hitting 3 o'clock and you'll be like, you know what, I'm going to take out something smaller and lighter, which is what I've seen quite a lot of people with LMGs do. The whole point of this is that it is light, and also the lighter the platform, the more you'll feel the recoil as well. So think of it as being like, if it weighed as much of a tank, then that recoil it just disappears. The weight just cancels it out. But if you've got something with that much recoil and it weighs as much as a paper clip, it's going to be shaken about all over the place. So there are really good reasons that I think that VFC made that system light. And again, hopefully, if Tom's nice enough, he may very well lend me that so I can do a little bit of talking about it and a little bit of reviewing on it. But anyone that came up to the stand to look at some of the Pew Hub's gear will have probably heard me talk about this Army Armament. And I wasn't kidding when I said, if this is still around by the end of the day, then I'm having it. And you know what? I'm having it. It was still there at the end of the day. Nobody listened to me. And so now I am the very, very proud owner of an Army Armament staccato. Now, this is basically, it's a 4.3 high capper, but it's got all of the right staccato markings on it. And everywhere else that I have seen this Army Armament, it's an R603. Everywhere else I've seen it, it's got some sort of other branding, or it's not particularly well branded. This one, although the branding on it is not great, it's all like in the style of what a staccato is actually supposed to be. So on this side, you've got where it actually says like the staccato P. I think maybe it may be worth me like filling in a bit of white on here just so you can see them a bit better. But again, this side we've got the 2011, and even underneath, just under here, they've engraved the like Georgetown, USA and stuff like that. So, and then we've even got the American flag on here as well. You know what? Actually, this is really cool. It seems to come with like a 5.1 mag, which did confuse me a bit, but you've got like a flared magwell, really nice stippled grip. You do actually have the ambidextrous safety, which I'm genuinely not a fan of. I would much rather just have a single-sided safety. I don't really want one on here because I could accidentally knock it on and then not be able to shoot someone when I want to. So slightly annoying that that's on there, but actually I know that my friend Ben was looking to have both sides. So maybe we'll see if the parts are interchangeable. So maybe worth a go. So just so you can see, this gun is completely empty. There's a bit of gas in the mag, but that's it. But look at this. This gun is poppy, like really smooth. And also what really surprised me about this was when you pull the slide to the rear, there's actually very little side to side movement, and you can hear like the upper and lower scraping against each other. Like the tolerances on this, they're tight. Like they're actually like tight tolerances. So yeah, as soon as I picked this up and I was like, you know what, the stippling on that grip is actually really quite comfortable. Like they've got all the cutouts, you know, like everything they've done with this for the price that it comes in at £125 is what they were selling it for. I think this is an absolute steal. It's a custom high capper, and as I've said before, I'm really kind of getting back into just iron sights on pistols, nice blacked out rear and a fibre optic front, which this has got, and I must say the fibre optic is pretty good. It's a shame that we don't have any lines on the back of the rear sight here to sort of give it a bit more texture, and there's no lines on the top to sort of deal with like reflections or anything like that. That would have been nice, but it's a bargain pistol. It's not supposed to be setting the world alight. It's not supposed to be doing anything incredible, but actually, yeah, for the money, I'm really impressed. I'm going to be running this for a little while, and then hopefully after that I can drop a bit of a review on it. But you know what, so far, like the Army Armament stuff that I have seen coming through, I've got another Army pistol, which is like a Wilson Combat. Again, like not the best, but full trades on it, shoots great. Like their stuff is really impressing me at the moment. So don't worry, I'm not like detracting from the TM stuff that I know and love and I'm really familiar with. But some of these clone brands are really like upping their game, and I genuinely think that Army Armament are being slept on right now, especially with some of their pistol ranges. So yeah, more to come on this in the future, and more to come on just all the other stuff that I've been picking up. I will do a quick demo of how I managed to fix these mags. I'm pretty sure I know how I'm going to do it, and it involves an Allen key getting chopped up and inserted instead of pins. If it works, it works. Then yeah, bit of a bodge job, but I just want them running. So, and they're so good. They hold gas. I know that these mags are like 20 years old and they still hold gas. It's the best. I really wanted to do a video actually about because we're approaching the winter, and so I wanted to do a video all about like how you should store your mags for the winter, especially if you're not going to be taking them out. And ultimately, I've kind of gone over this before and said you should always keep gas in the mags and you shouldn't keep BBs in the mags. And I think there is a bit, when it comes to keeping gas in the mags, it should literally be a case of you don't have to have full mags. Like the mag doesn't have to be full of gas. It just has to have some in there to keep those seals pressurized. But the bit that really confuses everyone is actually to do with BBs. And they're like, well, the only thing that's going to happen if you keep BBs stored in, well, it's an MP7 mag. If you keep BBs stored in this mag, they're just like, oh, well, it'll weaken the spring. No, that's a thing that can happen. These springs don't really weaken that much, but what it does do, what it actually, like the main reason for this, and this is the bit that everyone completely misses. When this spring is fully at the bottom, it is putting extra pressure on this base plate and it is trying to force that gas seal apart. Now you've already got gas in the mag under pressure that is basically trying to, if it had the choice, these two pins here would be forced out and this base plate would pop off. If the mag had enough force to do it, it would. That's what it wants to do because of the pressure in there. And what you're doing when you have this full up with BBs and you're just leaving it, it's just extra pressure pushing, trying to widen this gap. And so actually your chance of getting leaky mags is increased by leaving them full of BBs. So I know a lot of people won't stay to the end of this, and a lot of people won't have seen this, heard this. So I'll try and do it in a separate video to kind of make clear that's how you should be storing your mags. But for those of you that have stuck on, there you go, you've got the inside scoop. That's the reason why you would want to like essentially remove all of the BBs from your mag before any kind of storage, and just make sure there is some gas in there. So anyway, guys, that's all for today. But as I said, I've got so much more to follow up on. Work has been way too busy, way too hectic recently, and it has really encroached on my airsoft time. Unfortunately, it pays the bills. Like, airsoft doesn't pay my bills. So first priority, got to get my bills paid. Once those are done, we're back in with the airsoft stuff. So hopefully over the next few months, I'm going to start ramping it up again, start doing some more videos. There is way too much that I want to talk about and I want you guys to know about. So thanks for sticking on this long, and thank you to everyone that has subscribed, and thank you to all the people that came up to me at the Midlands Airsoft Fair and said hello. A lot of you had said that you'd picked up MWSs, and so far everyone has said that they love them and that they're getting on really well with them. There was one guy that said he had a couple of issues. Hopefully he's managed to resolve those now. I did give him a couple of tips on what to do, but it was so good to meet people. And honestly, like this airsoft community that's being developed it's awesome. It's genuinely awesome, and it's all because of the people that are getting involved in it. Anyone that basically just wants to have more fun playing airsoft, they're the people that have managed to find my channel, and it's half to do with like you guys sharing it and half to do with me uploading it. So credit all round. You guys are awesome. I'll do my best. But anyway, I will see you on the next video. More updates. I don't even know what it's going to be about yet, but that's how we roll. Hey, take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon.